Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm inviting you for coffee today to come and hang out with me for a little while and talk about something that's super duper interesting, but not only that, it impacts your entire life and most people don't even know it, okay? I'm talking about our thoughts. Now I hope you find this as interesting as me. So come nerd out with me. We're gonna talk about this. So I started thinking about this stuff very young, very, very young, guys. And I was thinking about this morning. I'm like, when was that first time I started thinking more about my thoughts and not just like being in them? Because most people, guys, we go through life and we don't even pay attention to our thoughts. So I was trying to think, when was the first moment that I started paying attention? It was actually when I was 15 years old and I picked up the book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Totally recommend that book. If you get a chance to ever read it, go ahead and read it. It's wonderful. I should probably read it again. It's been a while, but that opened up my world to all these concepts that I had never really thought of in that way before. It really, really impacted me. So ever since then, I've been kind of like way more curious about humans, why we do what we do, the power we actually have in our lives, right? So I was 15 like 22 years ago. So this is a long time coming. Um, so like I said, most people go through life not even realizing that they're thinking, not even noticing them. And what they notice instead is their emotions. What we don't know is that your thoughts actually drive your emotions. And a lot of the time, your thoughts are creating your emotions, guys, and then it's creating your beliefs in life, which if you are interested in learning more about beliefs, I mean, we could go down that rabbit hole big time, but my last video was about limiting beliefs. So super interesting too, if you get a chance to watch it. So our thoughts create our emotions, creates our beliefs, they create our actions, and they actually drive our results in our life. So if we're not aware of our thoughts, guys, how can we really expect to change our lives, right? So this is the first step. And the common mistake that we make is that a lot of the time, if we are aware of our thoughts, even just a little bit, we believe them. So we believe them as truth. And this is a hard thing because, some thoughts are going to be true, but a lot of the time, guys, they aren't. Because our thoughts are mainly based in our past programming. So these are things that you picked up as a kid. These are like ideas and like kind of like opinions you created based on what so-and-so said to you or what somebody said to you when you were younger or something that you came up with yourself, right? It doesn't mean it's true. So childhood conditioning, past experiences, old patterns, those are where your thoughts come from. So a lot of our thoughts are just old programming repeating itself to us. So you've probably heard that, or you've probably felt that in your life, like maybe your thoughts are like your narrator. It's like you're going through life and you're like, oh, it's telling me my opinion about this or this as I go through life. And it's so interesting because it's true. It's kind of like, it's just our programming and it's kind of like explaining the world to us, right? So that can actually cause a lot of loops. It can cause us to stay stuck. So the power comes when we realize that you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts do not have to be true. They don't have to be your driver, okay? If you aren't your thoughts, then who are you? And this was something that I was like, I remember just being like, wow, this is crazy. So if I'm not my thoughts, if my thoughts aren't me, and a lot of the time they're not even true, who am I? Who we are is we are the observer of our thoughts. We are the one that's able to come above our thoughts, observe them, and decide whether or not we want to believe them, whether or not we want to go in that direction, right? So this is really interesting because, and I have a story I'm going to tell you about my own life and how this impacted me because, man, is it ever such a great skill to have to be the observer, right? It can dictate where your life's going to go if you're able to observe your thoughts and then decide which ones you want to believe. Okay, so it gives you a choice, it gives you power, because remember, you are not your thoughts. Okay, so I was at a point in my life where I had already quit smoking. Okay, I was a teenager that I dabbled in a lot of things. Okay, I was a chain smoker. I quit smoking. I had a food addiction, figured that out. And I'm now at this point where I'm going to tell you from is that I was going through a sober journey. So I'm talking about alcohol. I had quit for maybe a year and a half drinking. It just wasn't serving me anymore. I was trying to build a new kind of like life for myself and a new direction, right? And I was trying to take care of my body. So all those things. So this was the point where my thoughts became so loud. Okay. So I was in a point where I was deciding whether or not I was going to drink or I was going to stay sober. And what was happening is I had two different internal dialogues, internal thoughts kind of conflicting each other in my head. Have you ever felt that before? Because it's very confusing when you're in the middle of that and you have this one side, these old maybe programming, which in my case it was old programming, talking to you and being really rational. And then you have this new kind of like other opinion also, and it's driving you this way. So you're kind of being pulled in two directions. So I'm going to explain to you what that actually sounded like in my mind, okay? So I had this old thought pattern that was like, it's okay to drink. It's okay. Like a lot of people have drinks on the weekends and, they're good and it can make you, more relaxed in social situations. And because that was kind of what was going on. I was looking for a deeper connection to people. And I didn't really have that built yet. I didn't really have a community built where my social life was apart from drinking, right? So there was that old kind of like pattern. It's okay. Like lots of people just drink on weekends. It's all good. You can do that. And it's like, it's reassuring me. And you know what? It was really convincing. It was like, you know what? You're right. Like if I just have a drink and I go to this event, then I can relax and then I can get what I want, which is social connection. Cool. Fair enough. But I had this other piece that was saying to me, hey, wait, you know what you're trying to do. Don't you remember why you didn't want to drink in the first place? Don't you remember what you're trying to build in your life, health-wise, and just like what direction you want to go in? Don't you remember the steps you've been taking? And it was this reminder and this driving force to not listen to this voice. So this was confusing because, and I remember I was sitting at a counseling office. I was getting counseled at that time by this wonderful lady who would, she was awesome. She let me come in there and just like talk. And this helped me kind of unravel these two pieces. And I remember saying like, I hope you don't think I'm crazy, but I literally have these two debating opinions going on in my head and I don't know who to listen to, right? Because they were both very convincing. They were both true, And had I not had that ability to be aware that this was happening in my head, I would have absolutely went back to my old patterns. That would have been the easy route. That would have gotten me what I needed at that time in a way that I knew it would work. I would just fall back into those old patterns. All good, So thankfully, I was able to distinguish the two and then decide and say like, okay, if I listen to these thoughts and I take actions based on these thoughts, it's going to take me in this direction. If I take action on these thoughts, it's going to take me in this direction. Now I can choose, what do I want, right? So I had two thought patterns literally fighting each other. It was like old program versus new identity. It was like comfort versus growth. It was just this crazy battle going on in my head. So this is, had I not had the awareness to know this was happening, guys, oh man, I would have definitely went back. But I didn't. I listened to that new, that growth mindset thought pattern that I was trying really hard to build. And I look at it now, and this was me creating a new identity for myself. Okay. So had I believed my old thoughts, I would have got such different results in my life. I would not be sitting here today talking to you, right? So this is the thing. This is where our power lies. And it all starts with awareness, guys. Your thoughts are powerful. So yeah, the lesson was both thought patterns made sense to me. Both of them kind of like were really convincing. My new identity was pulling me towards growth, and my old was just trying to keep me safe. It was trying to protect me. You know, it's not something that I need to like be mad at or scared of or anything like that. It was literally just old programming. So I want you to understand this, guys, because when you feel an emotion, and this is a lot of the time, this can, if you are unsure what your thoughts are, if you're not in a place where you're able to be aware of them throughout the day and stuff like that, a really good place to start is your emotions. So if you're feeling like joyful, or if you're feeling angry or whatever, sad, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now that's contributing to this feeling? What is it that's driving this feeling? What thoughts am I telling myself? Are they true? Do they have to be true? Are they helpful to me? Are they taking me where I want to go? And that's the big thing. So this is where your thoughts have power over the direction of your entire life, right? So start becoming aware. Start asking yourself the questions that really, really do matter. And I want you to know that you are so incredibly powerful. Okay? You are not your thoughts. You are your observer. The observer. You are the observer of your thoughts. Okay? You don't have to believe them. You don't have to fall into old patterns. You can create new thoughts on freaking purpose. Okay? Be purposeful with your thoughts and your growth, and you will go farther than you can ever imagine, guys. So cheers to that. Thanks for having coffee with me. I love you guys so much. Please reach out with questions. Please ask me anything you want. I want to help. So I love you. Bye.